Hello, YouTube. I have previously described paranormal and strange phenomena of the Coral Islands and the island Sakhalin in my videos. There's a lot to talk about Sakhalin, from the ancient tunnel to underwater mysteries to historical oddities to UFO sightings. But today I want to describe something that can be considered to be a natural phenomenon, but still inexplicable. It's the phenomenon of the giant plants of Sakhalin. Why science cannot explain this phenomenon. Sakhalin Island has been chosen by more than 1,000 species of plants, including those listed in the Red Book, but the flow of tourists comes there not just for their sake, but in order to get lost in a forest of 4-meter high buckwheat, pick a burdock taller than the man's height, average human being's height, and to try their luck in the impenetrable thickets of giant ferns. But on the mainland, all these plants, all this vegetation barely reach the height of the knee of an adult, okay? But on the island, they also grow up to 2 human sizes. So what is the secret of their gigantism? Well, when the Russians arrived on the island of Sakhalin centuries ago, they encountered a unique natural phenomenon. It turned out that some plant species on the island grow in gigantic sizes compared to their mainland counterparts. Sakhalin's huge vegetation is especially famous, it's considered to be one of the botanical wonders of the world. This phenomenon still remains a mystery to science. Since the early 1960s, botanists, biochemists, and soil scientists have proposed many hypotheses, but there is no definite answer to the question of the origin of the Sakhalin giants as yet. Thickets of giant ferns and burdocks form impenetrable thickets in which wild animals can hide. Agronomist Mikhail Mitsulia wrote back in 1873 that on the island the power of grass vegetation is amazing. Within a few weeks the grasses reach above human height, while differing in density, which makes transitions difficult, noted that researcher. The famous Russian writer Anton Chekhov, who made a trip to Sakhalin in 1890, compared the local giant burdocks with tropical plants. At night, especially in the moonlight, they seem fantastic, according to the Russian classic. Burdocks that grow taller than a man, with leaves reaching 1.5 meters in diameter. This is, in fact, a white coltsfoot, I believe in Latin it's Petacetus ampullus, related to Tussilaggio plant. For comparison, in the European part of Russia, the coltsfoots grow to a maximum of 30 centimeters. Giant plants meant a lot to the indigenous inhabitants of Sakhalin, the Ainu, and I've described these very mysterious people in my other videos. Look up videos about the Coral Islands and Sakhalin. You'll find them in my channel. One of their legends tell about a torrential rain from which people were suddenly saved by grass rising from the water at the height of a hat. Each Ainu sat down under a leaf, and the children fit 4 by 4, the Aborigines said. According to the testimony of today's islanders, coltfoots can really be used instead of umbrellas. What is most surprising, Sakhalin residents not only take shelter from the rain with them, but also use them for food. Huge ferns and coltfoots are collected and pickled by locals. Popular among the islanders is the burdock of the East, cooked in the manner of Korean carrots. There are other species in the Sakhalin coarse grass. For example, Sakhalin buckwheat reaches a height of 3 to 4 meters. There are usually more than 30 leaves growing on the stem, each of which is the size of A4 office paper. The thickness of the stem of the bear pipe plant on Sakhalin is not inferior to the ones from the wood. On the island also grow forests of bamboo, ragworts, filipendula, and also the filipendula of Kamchatka. Those 1.5 meter burdocks that grow taller than a man are in fact a wide Vegetation amplus coldfoots. Also, it's a relative of the general coldfoots plant. 3 meter hogweed and spear-shaped casalias rise among the valleys. The list of island giants includes 26 species, mainly perennial herbaceous plants. The causes of that gigantism? Well, the gigantism of plants is not found everywhere in Sakhalin. Most of the large grass thickets are in the south of the island, slightly less in the middle part, and quite a bit in the north. Similar landscapes of large grasses can be seen on the Kuril Islands, in the south of Kamchatka, as well as in the north of Japan, Hokkaido Island, and part of the Honshu Island. In other parts of Eurasia, large grass habitats occur only in the mountainous areas. According to scientists, the primary role is played by the properties of the terrain. The burdocks brought to Sakhalin from the outside also began to reach 1.5 meters in height. On the other hand, the giant Sakhalin species transferred to the mainland, like buckwheat, after several generations, lost their qualities, decreasing to standard sizes. Researchers have repeatedly tried to link the Sakhalin gigantism of plants with some unique factors, so the Soviet geologist Igor Belitsky assumed that the growth of grasses is provoked by the minerals zeolites. Others consider the rare earth metal cerium to be the growth stimulant. Among other possible reasons, the high concentration of chromium, copper, and manganese compounds in the Sakhalin soil was mentioned. Studies show that giant plants grow in zones of tectonic faults of the Earth crust. This was reported in 2009 by the staff of the Institute of Marine Geology and Geophysics of the Far Eastern branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences. They found that the thickets of filipendula, 2.7 meters high, grow on the acidic clay soils. Through the faults of the Earth crust, heat, petroleum hydrocarbons, and many chemical elements flow to the root of plants. To date, botanists agree that the gigantism effect is caused on Sakhalin by a combination of factors: good illumination, sufficient heating and drainage of soils, high humidity, and a lot of snow in winter. Giant plants grow in areas protected from cold winds. Observing the large grass, the experts of the Sakhalin Integrated Research Institute found that it takes about a dozen years for tallness to begin to manifest in the population. So there are no special miracles. According to those scientists, good conditions contribute to the development of a powerful root system. In turn, the energy reserves accumulated in the roots allow plants to grow quickly. Sakhalin giants retain their physiological youth longer in comparison with their mainland brothers and sisters. In these populations, the highest level of solar energy utilization in the world is recorded. It reaches 8%, which allows grasses to remain green longer. However, it remains unclear why the effect of organic mass growth is observed in a few species and not in the entire Sakhalin flora. Back in 1982, the candidate of biological sciences, Vladimir Voroshilov, suggested that plants have genetic prerequisites for gigantism. Perhaps someday the Russian Far East researchers will be able to discover them. That would be very interesting. I don't know if this is one of the reasons UFOs come to this very interesting and strange island. Could be, but I'll keep an eye on the developments of Sakhalin and, of course, the Coral Islands too. Thank you for your attention to my work. If you can support my research, you'll find how to do it in the links to this video. And please like my videos and please tell others about my channel.